Everybody, it's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. We are going on the hunt tonight with my buddy, Mr. Michael W. Cook. He is a cryptid field researcher and an author. Originally based out of Kentucky, he now lives in Alabama, one of my favorite states. They're all my favorites. I love all the states down here in the South, and wonderful cryptids around here. And I got to meet Michael. Actually, I met him, I think it was last weekend at the Vanish premiere. We met in person. And so he is here with us tonight, y'all. We're going to have a wonderful show. Michael has been featured on several media outlets, including These Woods Are Haunted and other shows. And he's had some serious Bigfoot encounters throughout his, I don't know, I guess the past few years, several years now. And we're going to hear all about those tonight. And most of his encounters did occur in Kentucky. And y'all know we love talking about our Kentucky cryptids, especially when it comes to the Dogmen and more. Maybe some goblins too. Okay. But anyways, we got a lot to talk about. He specializes in cryptids. Okay. So y'all buckle up. We got a lot to discuss tonight. And we're getting back to our roots tonight. What we do best on this channel, talking about cryptids. I know I've had some interesting shows this week, y'all. And we were more, I guess, secret space program focused all week for the most part. And so I figured we got to do a hardcore Bigfoot show tonight or something to kind of balance that out. Nonetheless, the shows were wonderful. And thank you to our team and to Jimmy Payne. And we had some wonderful shows, by the way, absolutely wonderful shows. But we talked about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Thursday night with Jimmy Payne and Misha Johnson, but it got into cattle mutilations, black ops programs, presidential models, psychic spies, and so much more. It was wild, y'all. The most riveting 3 hours we've had here on the channel. I'm just kidding. All of our shows are riveting. They're all amazing. But it was extra special Thursday night. And so, yeah. Anyways, y'all go back and watch that if you missed it. And thank you guys so much for being there and for all your support and for sticking with us for 3 hours and 5 minutes that night. Okay. Well, tonight, I don't know. We may go 3 hours tonight, but I doubt it. We're going to shoot for about 2 hours, but we'll see where we go. I was talking with Michael about that before the show. And so, yeah, like I said, we got a lot to talk about. Okay. If you guys would like to check out my website, please go over to thecryptidhuntress.com. You can find all of my shows over there, my archives, my calendar of events. Let's see. The next event that I have is the Western North Carolina Comic-Con. It's coming up on February the 21st. I forgot to pull up my flyer for that. Sorry, y'all. I made a flyer for that, actually. Sometimes you got to take things into your own hands. And so I did. I made a flyer for that for Dr. John. And so it's all over social media right now. Y'all come see me. It said Western North Carolina University or Western Carolina University, the Hines University Center, February the 21st. Okay. So I hope to see you guys there. And then, of course, we have the Georgia Bigfoot Conference coming up in March on the 21st in North Georgia, in Tiger, Georgia. Rare. Okay. So y'all come see me at that. Also, if you'd like to support my work and stuff, I do have a Patreon, and thank you to all my Patreon members. I appreciate y'all. And I have a shop on Etsy. It's called War Woman Goods. Thank you guys so much for buying the goods from War Woman Goods. Okay. Well, let's get to our show, y'all. Okay, because I've got Michael here, and he's really fun to talk to. Okay, we're gonna have a good time tonight. All right, so Michael W. Cook is just your friendly. I added this. Michael, this is from your Facebook page, by the way. It's just your friendly neighborhood Bigfoot researching hillbilly from southeastern Kentucky. I had to put that in there. He's an American author, cryptozoologist, actor, and multimedia storyteller whose work has helped redefine modern cryptid culture, best known for his expanding book series, including the Bigfoot Volume One, the Bigfoot Volume Two, Beyond the Footprints, and American Cryptid. Cook blends investigative research with cinematic storytelling to bring the mysteries of North America's most legendary creatures to life. A lifelong explorer of the unknown, he's the founder of Cook Cryptid Research, an evolving research brand dedicated to field investigation, eyewitness interviews, and the preservation of cryptid folklore. His work spans Bigfoot, Mothman, lake monsters, pterosaurs, and the broader paranormal landscape, earning him a dedicated following among researchers, festival audiences, and readers across the country. He's appeared at major conventions, libraries, and festivals. And some of his appearances include a lot of the biggest Bigfoot and cryptid festivals that there are. And of course, he's also been on television as well. And he actually stars as the hillbilly, the voice of Hillbilly Squatch. I love that. In the upcoming animated series Bigfoot and Friends, premiering on Discovery Kids this year. His credits also include Travel Channel's These Woods Are Haunted, Paranormal Caught on Camera, and History Channel's Bigfoot Captured. All right, driven by curiosity and the belief that great mysteries still walk the forest, mountains, and skies, Michael continues to explore the edges of the unknown, inviting the world to join him on this adventure. And tonight, the world is joining you, and you're joining us on this adventure, Mike. Please help me welcome to the show, and y'all go check out his books as well, Mr. Michael W. Cook.
Hey,
Hey,
everybody.
what's up, Mike? Thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yeah.
Of course, this is going to be fun. I got to hang out with you last weekend in
Hmm.
Alabama. Now you're from Kentucky, okay?
I am.
But you were in Alabama. Now you live up in Alabama, right? Or down in
I
Alabama.
live I live down in Alabama.
Okay.
I'm about 60 miles from Tupelo, Mississippi. I live right across the middle of the state.
Oh, very
Hmm.
nice. Very nice. So you weren't too far from where we were. We were in, what was that? Gardendale, Alabama last weekend?
Gardendale, about 35, 40 minutes away.
Oh, that's great. That's great. What did you think about that? We were at the Vanished movie premiere. What did you think about the event and the movie? Did you stick around for the movie, right? Did you?
Yeah. I
Okay.
stuck around. I hid in the back and watched it. I thought that, the Dennis Martin case
Mhm.
has always intrigued me, even prior to Bigfoot. This year makes 24 years that I've been in this, and even prior to that, I knew about Dennis Martin
Mhm.
and this case of a missing child, and it's never been solved. And his, along with many others, have never been solved.
Oh,
And it's it's not only frustrating, it's heartbreaking that this family and these families can never get closure
mhm.
because of this. Now, my personal belief, I've never thought that Bigfoot was involved in the disappearance. I've never thought that.
Some people do.
Some people do,
Yeah.
and it's okay because at the end of the day, we don't really know what happened to this kid. But the circumstances surrounding it is not, in my opinion, simple cut and dry kidnapping taken to another state
Mhm.
and mended into a different world and grew up that way. I don't think that happened. Um, there are so many weird weird things that occur in those mountains, and for Dennis's sake, I hope whatever happened to him was peaceful.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what the documentary that Greg Ogles and the crew over at Relics Films, um, I think they did a good job of really exploring it and looking into it. And they interviewed me because I had done some remote viewing on that case. I was given a blind target, and I believe that I think that he was trafficked. I think that's what
Yeah,
the outcome was with the data on that. And then the other psychic they brought in, she had the exact same results as well. She says that he was trafficked too.
I
Both
thought
of us
that was
did.
intriguing that
Yeah,
both of you all, without prior knowledge to either one of your visions,
mhm,
your viewing, came up with a very similar
we
outcome.
did. We did.
And that proves remote, if anything, it proves remote viewing is possible.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
clairvoyance and all that. But Dennis, what was he, 6 years old?
He was about to be 7, I think, but yeah, he was around 6.
I mean, you've got a child, and been around children all my life, and I just I 6 year olds, man. I remember when my niece was 6. I remember when all my nephews and nieces all were 6, but my oldest niece, we use her as an example. When she was 6, she would disappear in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could take her to a store, and she'd be right holding on to your leg, and all of a sudden she's gone.
Oh, man. I've talked about putting a leash on my kid before, okay, like a pet.
We
Oh,
did. We
when he
put
was
a
really little. Yeah, I'm
we
not opposed to that.
no,
A little
we put a
something.
backpack with a leash on it when we would go to like Disney and stuff,
Mhm.
and have her because she was like a squirrel. She would see something and go for it.
That's right.
um but that's the case with many missing peoples and children out there.
Mhm.
I David, great friend of mine, he done the missing 411, and it's not just a few cases, folks.
Yeah,
It's
David
just
Paulides. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just a few cases. It's not a handful of missing persons. It's thousands.
Hundreds of thousands, man. It's a lot.
Yes.
You know what? I've done a show where, I was given some remote viewing targets of those missing persons clusters. And Michael, I think that they're being kidnapped and being used. And I like to connect the dots here on my channel. And coming from a cryptid field research background, I've worked with other groups like the UFO community and spiritual community, and I mean, you name it, secret space program, and we all work together really. And I bring everybody from every walk of life and every community on my channel, so we can kind of make some leeway into things like where these missing people are going and what's really behind this, and uncovering our hidden history and who's behind the curtain. You know what I mean? Who's
Well,
responsible for all this?
in current times, a show that a lot of people, just a fictional TV show that a lot of people do not understand the basis for, that has a cult following. I love it. Everybody loves
Yeah.
it. It's Stranger Things is based on an actual government project, the Montauk Project, and where there were missing children and experiments done on young people during that time.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that about Stranger Things, but that's an actual it was an actual case, um, where they
Michael,
think.
I had
Yes.
two Montauk survivors on my show this week. Jimmy Payne is a Montauk boy. He was here on Thursday night, and a former MIB agent. And then I had Arkeem Ra on Monday, and I went to Montauk with Arkeem. I've actually spent a week at Montauk with him at Camp Hero.
The
Yeah,
the
I know all
comment
about it.
that's the comment that's here on the bottom, it
Sovereign.
says,
What's up?
"Didn't OG natives mention to stay away from Kentucky?" Yes. So, I've got, I don't even want to
Thank
get
you.
into this, but we got 2 hours.
We got plenty. We
I've
got all night. No, I'm just kidding.
I've got almost a whole book written on the Daniel Boone case of the Yahoo that he presumably killed or allegedly
What?
killed. Yeah,
Tell us about it. Oh my
I
god.
have been working on this I've been in this for 24 years. I've been working on this for 23, because
Okay.
that was one of the first accounts that I ever read after my initial sighting. And Daniel Boone, he wanted to kill one of these things,
Oh, what a
and
Bigfoot.
a Bigfoot, and they were called a Yahoo because of how they projected their vocalizations. But the Creek Indians and the Shawnee, they told Daniel Boone, this thing's not going to be easy to take down. And so Daniel takes out a team of hunters, and uh, essentially, as the story goes, they did kill one, or allegedly killed one, and he deemed it too human-like to eat. It smelled terrible. He didn't want to drag it anywhere because he was afraid the scavengers would try to come after him. And they buried it somewhere, but there's mixed accounts that say that the creature was 8 foot tall. Some say they were 10 foot tall. I'm gonna split the difference and say 9 foot tall.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
and
big.
say that's a big animal. A lot of people, a lot of people don't realize how. I've had people come up to me at these countless conferences and festivals and stuff, and they say, I saw something that was 12 foot tall. All right. Um, I saw something that was in the 7.5 to 8 foot range a long time ago. And,
Big.
and now I have measuring tapes and everything else with me. But just to throw it out there, I'll show you what 12 foot tall is.
Okay.
My air vent, or my filter for my air, is right there. The top of it is at the 12 foot mark.
Uh-huh.
I'm 5'9". I have a 7 foot tall reach, or 7'2" tall reach. So
Okay.
if you can see my hand, the door facing is 7 foot, and my hand is exactly 2 inches past that. That is a big animal.
It is.
We're
And it's not
talking
just tall, it's
some.
wide too, right? It's
Oh
kind of
yeah, well
wide.
they have to be. They have to be wide.
Husky.
They have to be kind of husky to carry that weight. Their bone density and everything. You're talking about something that's going to weigh in excess of 800 to 1,000 pounds,
Hmm.
easy. And that's a ballpark figure, Jessica.
Yeah.
We have never put one on a scale. So
Not
the
yet.
one
Well,
that
we haven't, but I don't know. Do you think the government knows about these things?
I'm 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 indifferent about the whole. So with
Conspiracy.
military and everything else, you have to understand there's going to be somebody to run their mouth, and
Oh
they're
yeah.
gonna leak it no matter what. And that's how, a few years ago they come out with the UFO files for the Navy, and the Air Force, after everything was declassified, the Air Force comes out and says, well, Project Blue Book was a real deal, and we did use J. Allen Hynek to kind of cover up some things.
Oh yeah.
And, but that all come up for air because of a few people letting off a couple of bubbles.
Oh yeah.
At some
Get them
point,
drunk. Get them drunk. They'll talk.
get them drunk, and they'll talk,
Get them some margaritas.
or let them tell a child. A child cannot keep a secret, and you're going to tell your nephew or your child, and somehow or another
Yeah.
at school or somewhere, that child's going to say, "My dad's working on a secret project that's involved catching a what they call Bigfoot,"
Yeah.
and eventually it'll come out. I do believe that the government has covered up um, accounts. I have talking to fish and wildlife officials, retired
Hmm.
park rangers who, in the Smoky Mountains, park rangers, the ones that I talk to, that I cannot mention names to, say that when they get hired in, there's a briefing and they say, you might see some strange things. There might be
Mhm.
some stuff that you can't explain. You got to tell us about that, but you can't tell nobody else. And if anybody asks you, you don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Um, Ceiling in a room is roughly 8 feet. So my ceiling in this room is 16. So I
Good
have a
grief.
16-foot ceiling
You
in
so you
here.
so basically you could fit some Bigfoots in your house, is what you're
I could have a
saying.
Bigfoot or two in here.
Okay. I mean, I know a lady that she was giving a speech at a conference I did, and she said that she had Bigfoots under her house having a party one time. So I'm
I
not
had
saying
it
anything,
might have
probably
been
could
the
happen.
same, might have been the same
Yeah,
person telling me that, and they were under her house.
they were under her house.
And
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
I've had
Could
people tell
happen.
me that they've
I
had them on
I
their
don't want 'em in mine.
porches.
Would you
Huh?
invite a Bigfoot in your house if it showed up
No,
and it was nice?
no.
No.
The only Bigfoot I have in my house is her.
Oh, you got
uh,
Patty?
I got Patty
You
hanging
got the
up there.
portrait.
I've
Yeah.
got it. I've got it framed. That was I went to Hobby Lobby and had the photo framed, and I was when I got the bill, I was like, oh my God, I could have done that,
It's worth it.
but
No, it's
it's
Patty.
worth it's worth it for
Yeah.
when people come over to visit and stuff, and they see all my weird stuff on the walls. I've got the poster that hung in Fox Mulder's office. This was the
Oh,
actual
yeah.
movie prop or TV
Oh,
prop.
nice.
And
That's
then I
great.
have the Momo poster, and then Marvin over here. He's my
That is
guard
a
dog.
that looks like it's, to size. It's scaled to size, I could tell.
No, that's a little gray. I
Yeah.
have the Mothman, and then I have my Nessie right here.
Like, Michael, you're
Um,
like, "Welcome to my crib." It's
Welcome
like,
to Bigfoot's crib. So,
"Welcome to
uh,
Bigfoot's crib." Yes,
this
like
is
we're
one
on
of my
MTV right now.
favorite things. Joe Purdue gave me this in Hockin Hills.
That's
This is
cute.
one of my prized possessions. That is an autographed picture of the $6 million man. Lee Majors signed that for me at a Comic Con I was attending. I was a guest
Man,
at, and
that's
that's one of
nice.
my prized possessions. I don't even know where I picked this dude up at. Uh, Eric, creepy Eric. He gave me that, and then I picked this up in South Carolina at a festival. It's a painting, hand painted of an alien and a Bigfoot
Oh, that's cool.
hanging out. And
That's
then
cool.
my mom said
I need
I needed to put cows in my kitchen. So, I said, okay,
a
I'll have
cow
cows in
going
the
to
kitchen.
UFO. Oh my gosh.
Well,
I
that's
heard it
not the
was a
only one.
rooster. You're supposed to have
I have
roosters in
a
your chicken. I mean, roosters in your kitchen.
and then I have this one getting ready to be picked up. So I didn't
Oh, man.
disappoint with the cows.
I like your
But
style, Michael. I like
oh
it.
yeah, I'm weird. I live alone. It's fun.
You can do what you
I have a
want.
good time. Exactly.
I do what I want. Yes. Okay. I love that.
But but we're going back, circling back around the sizes of Bigfoots. I've heard it all the way up to 20 foot, and
Yeah.
that's no lie. That is a actual person telling me and telling a whole lot of people that he was habituating around 20-foot tall Bigfoots. And I had to confront him about that and say, even African bull elephants aren't 20-foot tall, honey.
That's real
They're
big.
not. That's real
Yeah.
big.
That is real big.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, around Georgia, all the places that I do my research, they can get really big, but the ones that we come in contact with are like anywhere from like 7 to 9 feet, usually something like that. Not that we're seeing them all the time as much as we are experiencing them. We may not get visuals on them, but the ones we get visuals on are pretty, they're pretty decent sized, but they're not huge. Patty
well,
was only 6 feet tall,
give or take. There's
give or
been so
take.
many size variations. I think Jeff Meldrum came up with 6 foot something, and then somebody said she was 8 foot tall, but there's no way. I've been to that site. I've been there multiple times in Northern California. Um, uh, there are certain geographic markers that you're going to look at, and she wasn't much bigger than me. I mean, and I'm not a very tall person. Um, and that's just how it is. I think when people have, it took me a long time to realize this, and talking to eyewitnesses and stuff.
I got a
And
picture
these
of us up on the
days,
screen, by the way. Sorry,
hey,
Michael.
there
That's
we are.
yes, you're taller than me. Okay, you're
I
taller than me.
am,
You are just
yeah,
by a little
but
bit.
you're kind of tall
I'm tall
for a
for a
girl.
girl. I am. I'm tall for a girl.
Yeah. Um,
Okay.
but I tell people nowadays when they come to me, and I've got multiple eyewitnesses coming to me all the time. I say this, and a lot of researchers are going to poo poo on this, but it is what it is. I say, okay, why don't you sleep on it? Yeah, sleep on it, and let's talk tomorrow. You're excited. You got to calm down. This life altering event just happened to you, and you have to calm down. You have to come off that high, and then we can talk. And it's the approach that I've used to calm witnesses and stuff. Um, but people, for the most part, people things will grow as people tell them, and that's not lying, and that's not being mistaken. It is it's size increase due to excitement, stress, and fear.
Dang, that's true. That's true. I got to tell you, Michael, I never spoke publicly for over 10 years about my Bigfoot research. I was private, didn't tell a soul. Okay, it was never public until I got asked to speak at a conference, and then all hell broke loose. And
Mm.
now I'm here. Now I got my own podcast, and I'm speaking all over the country right now about it. But
I've
it took I had to I know your story. I know a little bit of your backstory, and you can tell the audience about it tonight. But I just like yourself. I separated my business life, like my work life. I work for the government. I work for the state. Okay, and I separated that from my Bigfoot life and my personal life. My friends all made fun of me. Okay, when I was doing my Bigfoot research and stuff. But I think it kind of is very similar to your backstory with this. Is it wasn't as accepting back in the day when we
mm,
got into this, right?
no, it was
Yeah.
uh it was frowned upon, it's severely frowned upon, and that was, when I had my first encounter, I kept it a secret for about a year. And out of fear, not from others, out of fear of my parents. I didn't know what they would say. Um, Worst case scenario, they think I was lying. The very worst case scenario would they would think I was crazy. And
Yeah.
and then, I may be. Everybody's a little crazy, but
That's what I always say.
we
I'm a little
um
crazy.
so back when I was 16 years old, I skipped school one day and went fishing on a riverbank, and one rolled off a hill in front of me into the river. It took a wrong step. It tripped, it slipped. I don't know what happened, why that creature fell into the river. I have no idea why it fell into the river. We're talking a long time ago, and I could not figure out what it was. I thought it was a bear. And you're rationalizing all this going on as it's happening. When it stands up subconsciously, I may have thought, no, that's not a bear. So what is it? And when it stood up, is 7.5, 8 foot tall. It was kind of lanky. It was skinny. This is fall of the year, so it was kind of lanky, kind of skinny. It made its way over to the riverbank. It pulled itself up, shook itself off, and as it turned to walk up the hill, I let out my breath because I'd been holding it this entire time. So it G day. Oh, good day. Good
Good
day.
day. Carrie
Uh
Ann's from Australia, I think.
all
Right.
right, beautiful country. I love
We have
Australia.
Yes, we have a very international chat, an international audience.
So
Shout out
we
to everybody
hello
from other
hello
countries.
everybody. So I finally let out my breath I'd been holding, and when I did, it stopped, and it turned, looked over its shoulder at me, and that's when it squared up with me. We had a moment of eye to eye contact. But the strangest thing about that eye to eye contact, and I don't go into great detail about it with everybody. I will say this because we've got so long. The eye to eye contact was almost like it was embarrassed. Like it would look at the ground and then it would look back up at me and look at the ground and it would look back up at me. And it had this look on its face like, okay, if I look back down and look back up, this this hairless monster will not be standing there. And in reality, I'm doing the same thing. I'm looking down, looking up, looking down, looking up, hoping this hairy monster is not going to be standing there when I look back up. And I just had some kind of weird hallucination. But it let out these screams. After a few minutes, it just balled its fist up and it's like it built itself up from the ground and squatted down and it went, oh, and just these guttural screams come out of it. Two or three or four of those big guttural screams, I realized I have two legs. I can run. And I ran. I ran to my car, knowing this thing is behind me. It's going to grab me, and I could hear it like thump, thump, thump right behind me. And I know it is getting ready to grab me and take me off into the woods. I'm never going to see anybody I love or even don't love ever again. I get to my car, get
Ooh,
in, and look around frantically, and I'm thinking, this thing didn't follow me. And the thumping I heard
ooh.
was my heart beating.
Oh
And
my gosh.
I'm sitting in the car and I'm trying to start the car, and I just stopped. I said, "Okay, got you, big guy, you got to stop. Calm down. If you take off right now in this car, you will get killed. You are way too you're way too worked up." So I calmed down, collected my thoughts, waited a while, ran down and got my fishing gear, got back to my car. On my way home, I'm thinking, okay, mom, dad, I seen a thing, I seen something. I don't know what it was, but it was tall. It walked on two legs, it's covered in hair. And I'm going home and I'm pulling in the driveway and I'm getting out and I'm like, all right, mom, dad, I seen something. I never want to do anything else again in the woods or wherever. It scared me to death. You got to call the cops and this and that. And I walk into the house and I go, mom, dad. And dad goes, how'd you do? And I said, I, I, I done all right. I didn't bring home many keepers though. And something in me stopped me
Whoa.
and said, don't say this because they're going to think you're crazy. So fast forward, and the next year, anybody that's ever had any encounter like this, the next year is riddled with nightmares. It's riddled with self-doubt. Did I really see that? And after several months, I quit thinking about it a lot. One night, my dad and I were watching Unsolved Mysteries.
I love that show. It's one of my
And
favorites.
they covered cases like the Dennis Martin case, and it was mostly missing people and crimes that never had been, confirmed or denied
Yes,
or
missing children on milk cartons and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
And they every now and then you would catch an episode where they cover like an abduction. Travis Walton was on Unsolved Mysteries,
Oh yeah.
Fire in the Sky. So that night in particular, though, they were talking about the elusive Bigfoot, the mystery behind the Bigfoot.
Yes.
And I was reading a magazine or a book or something, and I was flipping through the pages, and I look up about the same time. Patty turns and looks over her shoulder at Roger and Bob on the Patterson Gimlin film,
Into the camera.
and into the camera. My
Yeah.
dad said that all the color came from my face, and he said, "Son, you all right?" And he was
You look like a
grabbing the trash.
ghost.
Yeah, he was grabbing the trash can. He thought I was going to throw up, and I said, "Dad, I've got to tell you something." And he said, "Okay." And I went through the whole spiel, and the whole time I realized that he wasn't laughing. He wasn't making fun of me. He was looking at me very intently. And I said, "Dad, do you believe me?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Why?" What he said next, Jessica and everybody else out there, was what propels me into the next 20 some years. And
Oh,
he said, "Because they're out there." And I
yeah.
said, "What do you know?" And he tells me about a story, a guy he worked with. Uh, there was an accidental shooting because they thought somebody was a Bigfoot in the bushes. He talked about this time when he came up on what he thought at the time was a black bear, but he never got to see it.
Oh, wow.
Michael has a calming radio voice. I'm going to start.
You've got a good voice.
I'm going to do my own audiobook for the next volume. So be listening to it. I'm from Eastern Kentucky. I've been called a lot of things, but inarticulate is not one of them. Um, and I'll tell bedtime stories if you want to pay me. Um, what color of
OnlyFans. I'm just
eyes
kidding.
did it have? Mama Bear Tahoe 3. So the eyes, we're talking almost 30 years ago. The eyes were
Could you
deep
see the eyes?
set. They were
Okay.
black. They were black. A lot.
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't see. I'm 50, 60 foot away from this thing when it's happening. I couldn't see the whites of the eyes, but I could see how they were deep set.
Hmm.
Not Harry and the Henderson style. People have asked if it looked like her, and they've asked
Patty.
if they look like Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. The answer to both of those are no. It did not. It was 7.5, 8 foot tall, a good 450, covered in this. It was a thin layer of hair. It wasn't real shaggy, and
Stringy.
it was kind of stringy, and it the hair on its chest was real tight to its chest. And the hair off its arms, though, it had long hair coming off its elbows. And when it was drying itself off, it was taking that hair and wringing it.
No way.
Yeah.
Stringing its
But
hair.
it had like it had,
His
I,
elbows.
I was going to say it had like a mullet, but it had long hair down across his face, yeah, or across his head. And the hair come up on its cheeks pretty high. Didn't see any ears. The hair was covering the ears. The head was not. It did not have the sagittal crest like a gorilla, like a mountain gorilla. It did not have the sagittal crest that some people have said that they've seen Bigfoot with. It had a round head. It was like a basketball sitting on its shoulders. No neck whatsoever. So there's your description. And I'm very careful with what I say when I say the color of this creature, because you got to put reality is hair is darker when it's wet. So,
Yeah.
um,
That's the picture I used for the show today. Actually, I wanted to say, Michael, okay, so I had the fact that you said mullet is so funny to me because I was getting all these AI generated pictures of Bigfoot today, trying to match up kind of what you saw to this. And I never heard you say it looked like it had a mullet, but I mentioned to my son, I said, Ben, all these Bigfoots that I'm generating, they all have mullets.
I
So
mean,
AI
it is
knows
the
what they look
Alabama
like.
waterfall.
It is the business in the front, party in the back. I
That's
love
right.
mullets,
So,
man. I think they're cool. My dad used to have one.
but
I hated it back in the 90s when my dad had one.
I used to have a mullet.
But now they're
Believe it
cool,
or
man.
not, Yeah, the ball
Yeah,
is in though.
you are from Kentucky,
So
man.
I am.
Kentucky, Kentucky raised, Alabama living. I feel you.
But this creature, the hair, when it rolled into the river, I just saw a big ball of hair.
Yeah,
When it got up on the bank, it's drying itself off, so the hair is going to automatically be darker. And it was in the shadows. It was darker. I would say a very dark brown or black was the color of this creature. Um, Deep set eyes, like I said. But you know, I've heard what gets you with this though, with no prior knowledge or not knowing these. I don't even. I To this day, I don't know the witnesses that my friend, who became one of my best friends, said that he interviewed, but he interviewed five individuals from that area, and he said they described the same creature five different times, and I was one of them.
really. They say it's got a mullet.
Yeah,
This thing's got a mullet
it's
on it.
got a mullet.
I gotta
Um,
wait, Michael. I gotta show this picture. I just pulled this up because I literally, when I saved the file, I wrote mullet. When I saved the file for this Bigfoot, do you want to see it? Let's see what a
yes,
Bigfoot with a mullet looks like. Y'all ready?
hell yeah.
I mean, tell me that's not a good one.
You know for a fact that
Tell me that's
mug
not
is
a
has
mullet.
got a he's got a Pabst Blue Ribbon and a Marlboro Light, and he
I'd
is
say a
staring
Crystal Gale
down.
T-shirt. Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
He's
he's definitely got a Crystal Gale T-shirt in his closet. Acid wash
absolutely.
jeans. He is rocking it, and his woman goes by his girlfriend goes by two first names. Her name is Amanda Lynn or Barbie
Norma
Ann.
Jean or something like that. Yes.
Yes,
100%. And he
he
drinks
is
with a koozie too,
he
probably.
drinks with a koozie. I mean, people who come over to my house and stuff, they see this and they're like, "You're not a redneck," and I'm like,
Drink with your pinky finger up.
I
Your
drank with
finger.
my pinky finger up.
Do you say finger? You say finger, probably. I say fingers.
I say finger.
Here's the question of the night. How do you what do you eat? Do you ever eat? And how do you pronounce Vienna sausages? How do you pronounce that?
Oh, Viney's.
Thank you. Case closed, y'all. Case
Case
closed.
closed. Viney's.
Show's over. We're done.
That's
I'm
it.
just kidding.
Nice, nice night. I'm gonna have some. I mean, I've had red wine and Viney's before
Yeah.
with some cheese and crackers.
Slurp the
Uh,
jelly off the top. Right.
I
I
was
wonder if
talking to.
Bigfoot's like those. I don't
Oh, you
know.
know they
I bet
do.
they would.
What was
Yes.
I read a report. I think it was a BFRO report. Uh, about a Bigfoot that broke into a moonshine steal and got for snickered one night.
A
And the
Bigfoot?
moonshiners came up on it, and it was their moonshine steal was destroyed. And they thought it was the revenuers, and they found the Bigfoot down the creek stumbling, and it was drunk. And it's one of those stories where it's fun. I don't know if there's any truth to it. It's a fun story to listen to and retell, but um
It is. I'm sorry, Gerald. This is the comment of the night. The achy breaky squatch.
that's the achy breaky squatch right
It's the
there. You
Billy
gotta
Ray squattress.
you AI generated that, put some copyright on it and trademark it,
Oh
put it on
man.
a shirt. I will buy it.
I'm doing it, y'all. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. That's the next design. Actually, my latest design has checker flags. 'Cause I come from a racing family, right? Can you imagine this? It'd be like Talladega Squatch, right? Talladega Nights with a Bigfoot. Okay. A mullet with, oh man, I've got so many ideas right now. Thank you, y'all. Thank you for all the great ideas. Thank you, Michael.
Mm.
We're doing it. We're going to come out with a low fashion line. How about that? Low fashion squatch
Well,
line.
talking
Yeah.
about us and what we're doing, I think it's a good time to tell people. I have the Bigfoot Volume One out now. It's a book that talks about how um what these creatures could be. It goes along the lines of flesh and blood, nothing more, nothing less. And now the Bigfoot Volume Two is getting ready to come out, and now I am currently working on the third book, which is called American Cryptid, and it is going to be forwarded
Oh
A
yeah.
special person is going to forward it, and it's going to be your host right there.
Thank you for even asking me. It's an honor.
Mhm.
I appreciate that. Yes. It is quite the honor, y'all. Yeah, Michael's written books, y'all. Okay. Not only is he featured in TV shows and stuff, but he's also an accomplished author. And I would be honored. I will be honored to write the forward for your next book.
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you.
if anybody wants to
I'm
know what
Cryptid
I'm
Huntress.
drinking,
What are you
also
drinking?
I'll do a
What is that?
shameless plug. This is Freak Show.
I've seen that before. Okay, the
It's
one that
very
I've
good.
seen
It's
had the wolf boy. What is it? The dog-headed man on there,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it actually reminded me of my friend Jose Haas, who is the, I guess you call him like the mascot of like the World Boxing
Hmm.
Federation or something. Down in Mexico. I think he lives in Mexico, and he actually is their mascot. He's actually a friend of mine. Okay, his real name's Jose. But anyways, I think he's got the hairy eyebrows, what he calls it. So oh my,
I
shots,
wouldn't have
shots,
dropped in
shots,
there.
shots
I done that for
on the
dramatic
Cryptid
effect.
Hunters channel. You saw it here
Mhm.
first on the Cryptid Hunters channel. We like to party, mullets
Anybody
and turning bottles up, y'all.
anybody that's ever been with me at a conference knows that. Um,
Man,
I'm
we didn't get
I'm
to party when we were at the conference together. Maybe we should have. I should have stuck around.
You should have came to the restaurant afterwards. Melissa and I sat together, and
Oh,
it
don't
was a
don't give out
comic.
the secrets.
It was comically. I mean, it was so funny. We had such a good time, and it was great food. If anybody gets a chance to go around Jim and Nick's barbecue anywhere,
They are good. Not sponsored by them,
yeah,
but you could be. Maybe
you
one
could
day.
be.
I'm actually
But
trying to get my
anyway,
sponsorship from Dollar General still. You know that the DG stores have portals in them. Did you know that?
yeah.
Yeah, you know that. See, it's just a well-known fact around the South. They've
You know
got
what
portals.
you know what an Alabama tumbleweed is, right?
I'm not sure. What's that?
It's a yellow
Garbage
DG
bag?
bag,
Oh yeah.
the Dollar General bag rolling down the highway in the wind. It's an Alabama tumbleweed.
Oh man.
Um,
See, where we go out and do our Bigfoot and cryptid field research, the Dogman investigations, this out in the middle of nowhere. Okay. And the only things in I had my buddy Harley. I don't know if you know Harley Owens, but Harley was on the
mhm.
show, and we were joking around about how the only place that we ever have to like the landmarks for us to go meet up for some of our investigations are the Dollar General stores. It's
You
the
get
only thing
lost
around.
here. You get lost
Yeah.
here because if I tell you turn to Dollar General store, there's 47 of them
Oh yeah.
down the way. And I told my parents when the first time they come down here and visit me in Alabama, I said, when you pass the Dollar General and the Sunoco that's next to it, there's not
Yep.
any of them on this 40-mile stretch on this highway. When you pass those, you got 1 mile and it's a hidden driveway and turn right. And they passed it up and they turned at another Dollar General and ended up somewhere else. And I'm like, okay, I'm coming to meet you all right now. I gotta lead you all in here. Uh the
Man, that's wonderful. I would love to live out in the middle of nowhere again, like I used to. I miss those days. I miss
I
those
live
days.
out
I'll
here.
be back one day.
I live in Walker County, Alabama. Uh I live in a very dark area. I live right
Mhm.
here in the country.
Mm.
Almost every night you can walk out on my front porch and look up into the sky and you can see lights. And Greg Ogles and I were talking about this at that deal last weekend. I'm not sold that they are satellites or anything like that, and they're definitely not airplanes. They don't have the blinking lights on them, the navigational lights,
Really?
and they're too low to be satellites.
Mhm.
But um, there's some strange things afoot in the Alabama world down here, and unfortunately, I've been here since August, and um, I have not been able to do anything research related other than finish this book. I had a deadline to make, and then I work 60 plus hours a week, almost 70 hours a week every week. Um, and it's hard to do anything after you've worked like that. And
Yeah.
I'll do a swing shift, which is a nightmare. I work a week on days and a week on nights with 2 days to transition. And it I'm always tired. I seen a buddy of mine today. up in Coleman, Alabama, and he said, "Man, you look tired. You just get off of work?" And I said, "No, I got off 2 days ago." I
Oh
still
my
look like
gosh.
hell.
Well,
Yeah,
you gotta take some time to yourself occasionally. Hopefully, you'll get
you
some
do.
time off, and at least you got some peace and quiet out there. Hopefully, and there's nothing like being able to look up in the sky and see these stars. And let me tell you, a lot of my research I go out there and do a lot of investigations in Alabama. And I know you're from Kentucky, but I'm kind of going to bridge this conversation into what I've experienced in Alabama with Kentucky. Okay, because what I got called out. Some of the guys I go out with this particular team sometimes, and we do investigations that are not just Bigfoot. We went to a skinwalker cave up in Tennessee recently, a couple years ago, and we had a Dogman investigation up in around the Bankhead area, Bankhead Forest up in
Okay,
Alabama.
I live right just south of Bankhead.
Okay, well,
Hmm.
I never really disclosed it. I'm never going to disclose exactly where we were, right? But it was in that area, and so the other another place that I go to is like in the Talladega area, Talladega National Forest, which is out on the east side of the state. And that's where when I was leaving one night, I came across two things on the side of the road. Wasn't at the forest. It was outside on some private land on the road. And I believe I've encountered two dogmen as I
Hmm.
was leaving. And so Kentucky, I'm bridging this into Kentucky because that's where you're born and raised. You grew up in Kentucky. What, Eastern Kentucky or West
Yes.
Eastern Kentucky?
Hmm.
Y'all are well known for some of the most famous dogman encounters out in Kentucky.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, out in the
Wh-
LBL region and
mhm.
around Mammoth Cave. Yeah.
Ooh, Mammoth Cave. I was showing a chart one day of Mammoth Cave. It's like one of the longest caves in the United or in the world. One of the
Hmm.
biggest or longest. I think it's one of the longest.
And they've never successfully mapped the whole cave.
Hmm.
There's the cave systems reach out into eastern Kentucky, and if you have you heard of the Kentucky Triangle? The
No.
Okay, so you have Mammoth Cave, you have Land Between the Lakes, and then you have Hopkinsville, which is
Hmm.
where the Hopkinsville goblins and all that, and it makes a little triangle here. And
Oh.
inside that triangle around Horse Cave and Mammoth Cave and all that, that's where all the crazy crap happens.
Ooh. Let me ask you a question. Is Hillier in Kentucky?
Yes. Hellier's in
Oh.
eastern Kentucky.
Oh man. All right. Well,
Hmm.
all right, go ahead. Sorry. I just had to ask.
So the Hopkinsville and that see that ties in with the Hellier stuff. So
Yes.
Hellier is
I've been
known
wanting to talk about that.
for goblins like
Mhm.
creatures. The Hopkinsville incident, which is affectionately known as the Kelly incident in Kentucky, because
Yes.
it happened in this community and the Kelly family and all this. They originally said that it was little green aliens
Mhm.
that terrorized them throughout the night. And but while this was going on in Hopkinsville, there were also strange things going on in Hellier.
Yes.
And
That's right.
if you look at the cave system maps, you can see that Hellier and Hopkinsville is connected right
Are
there.
they?
Yeah.
No way.
So, and that's a theory that a lot of us researchers out of Kentucky have always had with Bigfoot, Dogman, and everything else, is the fact that all these cave systems, we always had, um, yeah, we always had the uh, theory, or I'm sorry, I was looking at the house elves on the screen there. They look like Dobbies. They look
They
like
do.
they
They do.
do.
That's not the
Uh,
original picture that I usually show, but that one popped up. I thought that was cute because they do. They look like
yeah,
little Dobbies. I was like,
that's
they're a
cute.
little different. They look more
So,
human-like than what they were described as.
um,
That's a cool picture, though.
with Bigfoot sightings and encounters, we've noticed a drop in the wintertime and in the summertime, and they pick back up around spring of the year and fall of the year
Really?
very, very much so. That's when I had every encounter I've ever had with a Bigfoot has been in the fall of the year in Kentucky. So, um, we think they go underground in the cave systems during the winter and the extreme heat of the summers. And yeah, yeah, the Hopkinsville goblins, they made them out to be like gargoyles right there.
Yeah, they're kind of
Um,
like an aquatic ET kind of almost. It looks like they got gills or something on them, like those weird ears,
well,
and they're
a
white.
friend of mine who is has passed now, but he said that he talked to one of the family members a long time ago, and he said they when he saw the movie Hellboy with Ron Perlman, when he seen Abe Sapien, the a character in the movie, he
Mhm.
said just a smaller version of Abe is what they saw. So I don't know, And there have been I think that family finally come out and said that, or they came out and said that, well, we made it up and it went too far. And but then others say that they said that they have sustained. There's only a couple of members, if not just one member of that family left living now that could tell the real story, and I don't think they talk about it.
Dang. Well, we've I've talked extensively about the Kentucky goblins over the past few years, and I hadn't, like I said, I hadn't been public for very long here, probably 4 years, maybe 5 years now. About this will be the fifth year that I've had a YouTube channel. Okay, but but yeah, it's these people were scared to death, and it involved a UFO crash, by the way. Okay,
Mhm.
so lots of UFOs. I honestly did watch part of the Hellier series. There's just like a TV series or some
Mhm.
kind of show about Hellier that was coming on. My friend
It's,
Bryce had me watch it one
that was
day.
Greg and Dana Newkirk.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
A great show if you guys get a chance to go check that out. But yeah, it does. I would have to agree with you on the caves. Okay, especially a
Mhm.
mammoth cave. I would think that maybe some of as the activity goes up and down, I think that they do probably do go in those caves. I think. I don't know. And here's another quick question for you. What do you feel about the X factor, what I call the X factor of like a Bigfoot? And we're talking about supernatural abilities as well. Do you think they have some sort of a supernatural ability?
I do. And that's what this next book is why it's called the Bigfoot Volume Two, Beyond the Footprints. I go beyond the physical and the hair samples and the footprints and
Yeah.
everything. And I talk a lot in depth about how I talk about the supernatural aspects. But in my personal belief, you ask me what my belief is. I believe they're born flesh and blood just like we are, but they are endowed with abilities that we cannot and may not ever be able to explain. And people say, well, that's how do you prove that? That's the problem. You can't prove it. If they have supernatural abilities beyond our understanding, which I think they do, I don't think the proof and what people are wanting is that body.
Yeah.
I don't think
The
that'll ever
body.
happen. But the but humans are born flesh and blood, and they are sometimes endowed with certain abilities that we can't explain. I can't explain remote viewing. I can't explain clairvoyance or anything like that. I can just say I know for a fact that is a thing, and it's been proven scientifically over and over. But moving on into the known animals, into the animal kingdom, we have there's not a doubt in my mind that dogs talk to each other. There's not a
Dogs.
doubt. Yeah, I'm
My
firm and
dogs
not
do.
and I'm not talking about growling or barking. I'm talking you can be petting on one and from three or four or even rooms over or even outside, the other one will come in and want pets because it's psycho it's psychically telling its buddy, hey, come in here. This idiot's petting me.
Yeah.
So, and with dimensional abilities and we can explain it via higher dimension abilities. Well, that's the problem. We can't explain higher dimension abilities. We have not gotten that far in dimensional um, theory. Now, in this next book, the volume two, it I talk about string theory and I talk about interdimensional beings. How and every one of these chapters is called something something, beyond the footprints, beyond the hair samples, beyond our understanding. Ron Moorhead, this dear friend of mine and a hero of mine. He's the modern day Indiana Jones. Ron Moorhead
Yeah.
wrote the Quantum Bigfoot, and in that book, he talks about how he saw lights, orbs, and how he's heard mind speak and stuff like this. The going thing with Bigfoot is when skeptics say, "Well, everybody's lying." Well, it's impossible for every single person to be lying. It's
Right.
impossible for that. We are the monsters, and
We're the monsters.
that's
Well, I
just
mean,
not
I'm
your
not.
opinion. It's everybody. Well, you are.
I'm not a monster. I try not to be. I
I
don't know. Depends on who you're
humans.
asking.
I talk in my presentations to these days. One of my slides, I talk about colossal biogenetics and how they're doing the de-extinction process, and they're doing it on animals that we, the monsters,
The monsters.
directly caused their extinctions.
Oh
We're
yeah.
correcting Colossal is correcting mistakes made, in my opinion. But with Bigfoot, though, the DNA for a Gigantopithecus, which I've never been really set down on that firmly on that step and said, okay, it is a Gigantopithecus. I've never said that. I've said that it could be a off the line of Gigantopithecines, but we are too. Every primate in the animal kingdom has lineage tied to the Gigantopithecines.
We just
So
have this hair. We're
we
just a little more bald, all
we
of us.
evolved out of hair. We had hair. We were covered in hair
Yeah.
back when it was needed. And with the earth warming and stuff like that, and I'm not saying global warming, I'm saying the earth is warming. It's a cycle. It cycles. We probably won't see the end of it because we'll be dead. It takes hundreds of thousands of years for this cycle to complete. And, eventually it'll go back to the ice age. And I remember back in the 80s when we were kids, they talked about the next ice age. We're entering the ice age.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden global warming. We're 2 degrees away from annihilation.
Man, Michael, I don't believe nothing about nothing that comes out of TV today anymore. I
No,
really
and that's
don't.
what I tell people.
I
We
don't.
people wanna know these woods are haunted. Okay, so I tell people this 100% honest with everybody. And anybody who's ever heard me speak at a conference or anything will say that I'm telling the truth right now. And I will say that 95% of these woods are haunted happened, but 5% of it was built up for dramatic effect.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
And the funny thing about that TV show is the fact that I was walking out of the studio that day and I looked over at the producer and I went, make sure you get somebody that's good looking to play me. And they didn't disappoint. They got a guy right out of the Marines.
He was looking, yeah, I saw that actually. You know what? I watched it today, and I was like, "Wait, where's Michael?" I was looking. I thought I had gotten the wrong episode because I was like, "I'm looking for Michael." I didn't know that they had actors playing you guys
Yeah.
in that, so I thought I had gotten the wrong episode. I was like, "Wait," but tell.
I
So, can you tell the audience about this and can we talk about that encounter that you had? And
so
let's
back
talk about
in
that one.
October 6th, 2018, I just come off the road from filming something, and I actually lost my words. I forgot what I was filming that time. I was gone for a while. Come off the road. Gwen Guthrie and I were dating at the time, and I got home, settled down, and the next day, on the 6th of October, our friend Kenny called, and he said, "Hey, I'm on my way to Central Kentucky." I was living up there then. I said, okay. He goes, we're still going squatching, right? And I said, oh no. And I went through my messages and I said, we've got to take Kenny squatching because I must have promised him right here. It says, come on up on Saturday and I'll take you squatching. And I didn't want to go. I'll be completely honest with everybody. I was tired. You ever been out, gone from home for so long and you're like, I don't want to even go to the store. I want to order DoorDash and stay home. I'm done.
I'm like that every day. Of course,
Yeah.
I do like to get out in the woods too, but
Well,
still,
I
I
do.
know.
After a few days, I want to be sitting
Yeah.
here at the house for a minute. Somebody asked me a while back, said, why do you like staying home so much now? And I was like, all my stuff's here. It's nice. I
Because you
can
got a
watch
bed,
TV.
a comfortable
Yeah.
bed, and AC and heat in your house. That's why.
Yes. But
It's all about
Kenny
the AC
got
and the heat for me.
Kenny
Yeah.
got up there that day and he said, Gwen said, where do you want to take him to? And I said, well, we'll take him to this area that I've not been in a couple years because it kind of fell off. We quit producing any kind of interaction with these creatures. And I said, well, I'll take you up there where we saw some lights and we had an encounter with the couple one time. And it's worth it if you go up all the way to the top and look at the overlook.
Hmm.
And I said, but be prepared. It's 9 miles. So it's 4.5 miles up, 4.5 miles down.
Walking and hiking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh,
And
ouch.
and the
That's a
brunt
lot.
of it, the brunt of it is almost straight up.
Straight up.
So we
I
get
hope you
up
had a
there.
walking stick.
Nah, Gwen
My friend,
drugged me up through there.
my friend Gary Spikes made me a walking stick. Thank you, Gary, for being in the chat tonight. Gary's awesome. He's
Um,
out of Oklahoma. He's a Bigfooter too. Thank you, Gary. I love
the
my walking stick.
so we get up there and we had no intentions of staying after dark. Um, I didn't take any flashlights or anything with us because we wouldn't stay in after dark. I told Gwen getting out of the car, I said by dark I want to be out at the bar drinking beer and eating hot wings. That is it. So we get up
That's
there,
what I need.
we get up to the overlook and we sat there on the overlook and looked out and the sun set and I said, oh no. I said the sun's setting. And when it sets there, it gets dark quick. It's pitch black dark. And I said, we got to get off this mountain before it gets
Oof.
real dark. And Kenny came, he was our saving grace. He came up with these three little bitty flashlights. On the TV show, it shows little mag lights. It wasn't ever mag lights, it was little bitty flashlights.
Little tiny
And
ones.
yeah, so we just enough to make sure you don't trip and fall and kill yourself. And we started off the descent, and I told both of them. I said, "Listen, it's the hardest way possible coming down, but it's also the quickest way to the vehicles. Let's get down to the cars. I'm done." And I went first, and I went off this rock formation, and you got to turn around and kind of belly crawl down this rock formation. I'm helping Gwen down. Kenny's coming down, and we're standing there waiting on Kenny. And I hear something over here on the left hand side on the ridge, and it was like a footfall. And I said, "Huh." And I asked Gwen. I said, "Did you hear that?" And she said, "I don't know." I said, "Okay. What'd you hear?" And I was like, squirrel or something. I don't know." So they got on down. We got on down through there, and I kind of trailed backwards, and I kept on hearing something walk beside of me. And I said, "Okay, so let's try something." I stopped abruptly, and it made two or three steps, and I said, "Okie dokie,
Oh,
this is what we got." So I walked up to go in, and I said, "Hey, listen, we got something going on up here on the ridge." And she said, "Okay, what do we do?" And I said, "Don't run. Let's get downhill, and we'll get down to that swag. There's a swag down there at the bottom, and we'll try to see what it is." So we get to the swag, and I'll tell Kenny. I said, Kenny'd been hearing all this go on, and he was freaking out. He said, "What is that?" And I said, "Kenny, I can't tell you right now what it is. I can tell you what I think it is. I'm probably wrong, but it is what it is. So I pick up a stick, and on the TV show, it shows me knocking 3 times. I never knocked 3 times. I knocked once. And here's the reason I knocked once. The stick that I picked up and smacked it on the tree broke, and it made this loud pop. This perfect pop. Pow. And I swear to God, right here on the ridge in front of me, "Hi," with force. And I went, "Oh no." And Gwen
Oh
said,
no.
"What the hell was that?" And I said, "Guys, it's what we came here for." I said, "We've got a Bigfoot."
Don't run now. This is why we're here, y'all.
And Kenny starts freaking out. He is having a hard time with it. And he's like, "We got to get out of here." And I went, "Don't, Kenny, you can't, honey. If you run, these things are predators. And you will entice them to chase after us. And I'm sorry, we're going to lose that race if we run. We're 500 yards away from the cars." All the TV shows made it seem like we were farther. But Gwen starts recording. Her phone's glitching. My phone died as soon as we walked in the woods. Um, it's glitching. She puts it over on this program and starts recording. And for around 53 minutes or so, we recorded this encounter. And they, at one time, I counted 6 distinct movements around us at the same time. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay. They were walking around us, and they were taking their hands, not sticks or anything. They were taking their hands and smacking trees. Wow. And they were grunting, and they were doing what's called samurai chatter on the TV show, on from the actual footage that we recorded that night. You hear me say, "Did you hear that?" And Kenny said it sounded demonic. I said, "But it sounded like," and they were talking to each other like that. So
Wow.
I walk up and put my hand on Kenny's chest, and I said, "You okay, bud?" And when I done that, I left a handprint. Now this is October, Jessica. It's chilly. I left a handprint on his shirt because he was wringing wet in this cold, clammy sweat. Medically speaking,
Whoa.
I'm like, "Dude, you all right?" He goes, "Man, my chest is hurting." I said, "I got to get you out of here. The game is
Good
over.
Lord.
We got
He
to
was having
go."
a dang heart attack out there
He's having some heart
or
problems.
something.
And I walk up to Gwen, and she's crouched down in this circle she drew. She said she was safe in it, and I left her
Wait,
alone.
stop. Go back. She drew a circle. Tell me about
She drew
that.
a symbol, a round symbol in the dirt, because she was scared. And she said that her grandmother made this circle, and it was for protection. It was Native American stuff. And I said, "Okay, that's all well and good, babe.
Did you say,
However,
hey, make that circle a little bigger? I need to get inside there.
these things are flesh and blood. They are pick you up and pack you away, flesh and blood stuff. We're not going to make it out of here if you stay here."
You can't
And
stay in that circle, honey. Get in
I
that circle.
walk up to her, and I grabbed her shoulder, and I said, "Gwen, babe, we got to get Kenny out of here." As soon as I touched her,
Man.
something came running toward us. Pow, 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 just stomping toward us. And I drew my firearm, and I'm standing there, and Gwen is behind me at this moment. She's hugging my leg, and she's going, "Please, we gotta go. It needs to leave us alone." And I screamed as loud as I could. I said, "Stop. Where you're at, we're leaving. Leave us alone." So I get her up, and I get her calmed down. I said, "Hey, listen, this is the bravest moment of my life." I said, "Listen, you and Kenny have got to get out of here." And she said, "What are you gonna do?" I said, "I'm okay. I'm gonna fall back and let you all get ahead of me. They'll get me instead of you all." And she said, "No." And I said, I said these words. I said, "Gwen, I've gotta know. I've gotta know what we are, what these things are." And that's all I want to know. No proof, no nothing. I just want to know what you are. So she said, what if something happens? I said, forget what I said about running. Run as fast as you possibly can. Get to the car and get out of here. Don't lock the doors. Start the car and get the F out of here now. Call 911, but do not say Bigfoot because they won't come. And I talked her into it. And I got her away from me. Her and Kenny held hands and they started walking down through there. And they got several 10, 15 yards away from me.
Wow.
And I started walking toward them. And in my mind, I'm saying, please don't do this. Leave them alone. If you want something, take me. Barty, Barty, Barty. And something in my brain goes, look behind you. And I take the flashlight and I look behind me, and one steps across the trail behind me. One footstep, one footstep across the 8-foot trail. And I went, okay, brave moment is completely gone. And
Run!
I kind of walk up to them and I put my hand on their backs and I went, go. Don't run though. You just got to walk a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And we get down to where this shelter house is. It's got a tin roof and there's a light there and we can see the cars. And I wanted their initial reactions. I said, what are you all thinking right now? And they're talking and oh man, these rocks the size of softballs come pelting out of the tree
Oh,
line. And they're falling all around us. So we ran down to the cars. We did run at that time. We get down there and we're catching our breath and everything. And all of a sudden we hear right here on the ridge, ooh, and then one up on another ridge, ooh, and up on the other ridge, ooh, all the way across that mountain. You could hear them, whoop, and they were going, ooh, 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 like they were excited. And
they were happy.
they were happy that we got out of there. They run us out of there. All
Oh,
this
wow.
time, I'm standing there in complete amazement because I've heard them before, but not like this. And I just happened to look over, and Gwen's holding her phone, and there's that record light at the bottom of the screen. And I'm like, holy shit. We just got every bit of this on film. So we
You
let
got
them
good
calm.
footage of that.
We got good footage, and then we Gwen, everything calmed down, and Gwen goes to save the video, and her phone just glitched off, and she brung
Mm.
it back up, and there was only 9 minutes. The first 9 minutes of the whole night was on it, and I don't know. To this day, I don't know if they were doing that, if they were causing the phone to glitch, or we came in with full batteries. Kenny and I, we had cell phone batteries at 100% charge. We walked 100 yards into the woods, and my phone shut off, and did not come
Yeah.
back on until we got back in the car. So supernatural abilities. That whole mountain range right there is littered with supernatural stuff. A lot of Native American stuff. There's a battlefield. When you get up on the lookout, you're overlooking a battlefield.
Civil War battlefield.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a definite connection between Civil War and Revolutionary War battlefields and cryptids. And I think it's the blood. I think it's a place where there are a lot of death, a lot of blood in the ground, and I feel like that's a portal or something. Maybe it's caused some kind of portal to open there. I'm not even opposed. Listen, I'm such a conspiracy theorist at this point. I'm just a realist. I'm not even a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy realist. I think that some of these wars, this is my theory. I'm not saying I'm right, but my theory is knowing now that like everything's a lie, it feels like history's been such a lie. Things have not been what they seem, what we've been taught. I'm wondering if like even if some of these battles were actually purposely fought in some of these locations because they needed like blood sacrifice or something. Like that land needed the blood because I've done so much remote viewing on some of these cryptid sightings at some of these battlefields and stuff. The land requires blood. Comes up in my data all the time. The land requires blood, and it
Well,
just makes me wonder. I don't know. What do you think about that?
well, before the first cell split
Hmm.
in the history of this planet, there were only two things. There were light and darkness.
Hmm.
And one can't survive without the other. You have to go through darkness in order to know what light is. And if you're well lit, then darkness doesn't affect you. But what I'm saying is, biblically speaking, e- good and evil, um, spiritually speaking, good and bad. You have these evil spirits that cause mayhem and they cause destruction. And yes, back before Christ walked this earth, we had people that believed in blood sacrifices.
Hmm.
And to this day, there are still some religious sects out there that believe in blood sacrifice. They're not goats or virgins these days. They're more mice and goldfish related, but they still believe in a blood sacrifice. And I'm a
Hmm.
firm believer. I I've seen evil. I've seen it. I've seen it in my other side of life, and I don't doubt it. The Civil War was fought because people did not believe that people were people.
Hmm.
And at some point in our history, none of that really mattered. And that's the beautiful thing. I'm so glad you brought this up because this lets
Yeah.
me bring this up. That's the beautiful thing about the Bigfoot community is, and I tell people this all the time at these conferences and stuff. I'm not political. I'm not. I hate politics. I loathe politics. I'm very libertarian in my
Yeah.
political stance.
I think we're all getting sick and tired of it at this point. Just saying.
But I tell people at
My
these
opinion.
conferences and festivals, they're one of the only places you can be where it doesn't matter if you're black or white, gay or straight,
Yeah.
um, Republican, Democrat, left or right. It doesn't matter. We're there for Bigfoot. That old
Yeah.
boy is not. Those creatures aren't political.
I don't know. They
They don't
might
even.
be. You never
Well, they
know.
could be. I do believe they have clans. They have packs. They are pack mentality animals. I do believe that. I believe they have a certain hierarchy that they go with. Um, it is it will be. I will say this. I don't think in our lifetimes we're going to get the answers we have sought out. But I hope that children, your son and children around me, I hope they carry on what we have started. And that's the whole.
Shoot,
I
yeah.
was telling a friend of mine. He goes, "Man, why'd you write these books?" And I said, "If I want to be honest with you, I want to be remembered because I'm going to die one day,
We're all
and
gonna die. One of
nobody
my
gets
favorite
out of this
phrases.
alive. We don't get out of this alive, and
No, we're all gonna die.
and it's okay. It's a beautiful thing to live and die. Um, but I hope we never get the answers we seek when it comes to Bigfoot. It keeps the fun and mystery alive. And
Well,
somebody comes out once or twice a year and says, "Well, there's a video of Bob Gimlin saying that the Patterson Gimlin film was fake." Okay. If there is, then there is. I don't know. I know that I know Bob Gimlin. I know him on a personal level. I've sat at a campfire with him in several different settings, and I've heard the story of what happened on this riverbank. in 67 countless times, and it's never changed. And the fact of the matter is Bob Gimlin did not propel me into Bigfoot. The Patterson Gimlin film did not make me want to go out and research Bigfoot. I had a face to face encounter with one. If it wouldn't have been for that, I tell people all the time, 15 minutes prior to my encounter, my first encounter, if you would have said, if you'd have been standing there fishing next to me, Jessica, and said, "What do you think about Bigfoot?" I started laughing. All right, buddy, there's more fishing spots down the creek.
Get out of here.
Uh,
Get.
go on now, get. Um,
Don't talk to me about
but
that. Crazy people.
there is a quote I use at the end of my presentations at these conferences, and it's a direct quote from the movie Men in Black. And I say it like this: 1,500 years ago, everybody knew that the earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew that the earth was flat. And 20 some years ago, I knew there was no such thing as Bigfoot. Imagine what we'll know tomorrow, next week,
That's
next
right.
year, in 50 years, what will we know?
Yeah.
And I firmly believe that Bigfoot has been, I wouldn't say the best part of my life, but I'd say that it's been a good part of my life. And I'm very happy and proud that I'm one of the voices that give Bigfoot a voice.
Oh yeah. Hey, listen, Bigfoot has changed my life for sure. I never thought in a million years I'd be sitting here talking about Bigfoot at my ripe old age, and talking publicly about what I do. And also we got our good friend. I got my good buddy Da Roberts in the chat. What's up, Da? Thank you for being here. I was watching your show earlier. Y'all were awesome, and thank you for being here. We've got a lot of Bigfoot field researchers in the chat right now, as a matter of fact, and I feel like a lot of us feel that same exact way. It's like it's even with the stuff that all the weird, the crazy, horrible stuff that's been in the news the past week. It's like a lot of us have known this to be true for 10 years now, but now it's out in the public. Now we're not getting censored for talking about it anymore, and we're not losing our channels because we're talking about it like we did 10 years ago or 5 years ago. I didn't have a channel back then. Okay. But it's things that, like I said, conspiracy theorists and stuff, we're not really theorists. A lot of this is just reality. It just hasn't come. A lot of us are ahead of our times. How about that? That's
Well,
a good way to put it.
it
We're
goes
ahead of our
back.
times.
It goes back to the whole Congress and the UFO hearings and stuff. They wanted that knee jerk reaction. They wanted that they wanted the society to rise up and be like, "Oh no, there's UFOs." Okay, and whenever everybody was like, "All right,
Whoop de doo. We've known them.
okay,"
We've known they've
and
been around.
I'm sitting over here drinking a glass of Zinfandel, and I'm like, "Where's the Epstein
Freak show,
files at?"
Bill. That's right. Your whole house is decorated in that stuff. You've been known about that.
I
Um,
but
yeah.
it. Somebody asked me a while back. I think it was like last year at a festival. Do you think that they're going to have congressional hearings on Bigfoot? And I said, well, it's a possibility they would.
Probably not.
And I said, anything's
Bigfoot.
possible. However, none of us will be the ones they interview. Jeff Meldrum was high on the list of people that Congress would have sought after.
No, you know who they're
And
going to seek after are people in the country that have thick accents with mullets and tattoos like I have of checkered flags and with koozies. And that's who they're going to interview. Oh, I'm sorry. We're talking about Congress. I was talking about the news crews,
oh no,
the local
no,
news agencies.
you
You're
know
talking
for
about
a
Congress?
fact.
They
That's
can
what
interview me. I can be a
that's
little bit of both. I'm like a mullet. I'm business in the front, party in the back.
That's what I never
I'm
figured
just
out about
kidding.
aliens. I have no doubt that aliens exist,
Okay.
but I just have a hard time. They travel thousands of light years across galaxies and everything. Do they go to Disneyland? No. Do they go to Washington, D.C.? No. Do they go to New York? No. They land in a pig farmer's field in Arkansas. And the next day, he's on the news going, "Yep, it happened right over here. That
I
big
told them to
spot is
get out of here.
that big
Get.
spot that you see that big circle right there where the grass is dead. Well, that's not it. That's where my wife fell last week. She's a big girl. Um, you
The
go
devil's
on
tramping
past,
ground. That's actually where my
you
wife fell down, and left a
you
spot.
go on
She
back
left a
over
dent in the
there.
earth.
But I come out there with my shotgun, 12 gauge, and I said,
Oh
"Go on
man.
now, get." And that was all she wrote for the
It's
news
like,
interviews.
what's that guy's name? Tim Peeler out of North Carolina. He's friends with my buddy Tart. Don Tart. Don Tart. And Don's usually in the chat sometimes. He and I go Bigfooting together a lot. But yeah, they've got that pretty famous news show, that broadcast where they interviewed him up in North Carolina, and he was talking about how the Bigfoot had long, beautiful hair.
Or
And he told him to get on out of here, get. And that's my all-time favorite news broadcast where they interviewed somebody about Bigfoot.
I was on
100%.
the news last year or the year before last in Pennsylvania, and that was my rule. I said, first off, darling, you're going to have to let me get something to drink and clear my throat.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to have to do my vocal work because I'm not going to be that hillbilly that's on there going, "Man, I'm a Bigfoot researcher out of East Kentucky, man. I tell you what, they're out there. You might think I'm crazy, but I tell you what." And I
There's
just went
nothing
into
wrong with that.
hillbilly.
Michael,
I
there's
just
nothing wrong with that.
I just went into the hillbilly squatch voice. So I was approached last year about this. My publicist got a hold of me and she goes, "Hey, I've got this opportunity. I want you to go to this studio. I want you to read these lines, and you might not get it. There's a whole host of people that's auditioning for it." And I was like, "All right." And I've done a few things that's not Bigfoot related, TV wise and acting wise. And I went in there and I read these lines, and they made me do it in like 14 different characters. And I was like, "All right." So,
They liked your hillbilly voice the best, huh?
well, they called me up and they were like, "So, hey, listen, we think you're a perfect fit for this character. It's a Bigfoot." And I'm like, "No, you're kidding." And they're like, "Yeah, it's a Bigfoot, and you all are going to go off and solve the mystery of the missing Mothman.
Hmm.
The Mothman has been captured by the Men in Black, and he has got his friends on it. So it's the Bigfoot and Friends subtitle Cryptid Rescue Team. And there's like the Chupacabra. There's a Yowie from Australia who I play also. I play three different characters, and I'm doing the soundtrack. Part most of the soundtrack. So that's
Cool.
what we're working on right now. We took a break from script reading, and we're doing some soundtrack work. But I'm doing the Bigfoot out of the Yowie out of Australia, the Hillbilly Squatch, and then I'm playing myself. I'm playing a Bigfoot researcher. So that one is actually the hardest one to actually do. I've had to repeat my lines so many times because it's easy to go in and read what's going on here, fellas, in that raspy voice that I do.
That sounds
And
fun.
it's so fun. I got to sing the lead, the title song, and toward the end of the show, it'll come back in full regalia. It's like a crescendo at the end, and it's the title song for the TV show is "Don't Stop Believing," and it's so fun singing it and doing the voices, and I've met so many great people. There's some very big name comedians and actors that are voicing characters in this show, and it's so fun. I love
That's
it.
great.
And then we have another one coming next year sometime. We have a live action show that I think if I'm pretty sure I'm going to be the host of. It's a travel show and it has to do with everything um, that I am. I love food, I love travel, and I love the weird. And just for instance, we're going to be eating the Mothman pizza in Point Pleasant, West Virginia at some point next year and filming it. And then we're going out into the TNT area, and which I've been. I love Point Pleasant, West Virginia. If you ever want to go there, you GPS it, but don't blink because you'll miss it. It's a little bitty town in West Virginia, but it's
Oh yeah.
steeped in so much history. Both history and weird
And
history. The
cryptids.
moth. Oh man, there's
Man,
flying
West
cryptids.
yeah, West Virginia has some of the most like is the most cryptid dense states in the country for some
Well,
reason. And I noticed in your bio I was reading you were talking about pterosaurs.
yeah.
Modern day dinosaur sightings. I've covered a lot of those here on the channel. And why do you think there's such an uptick in pterosaur sightings right now? And we have a raptor in Georgia, the Georgia raptor. Like a velociraptor was spotted here where I do my Bigfoot research.
So the what my theory is on the whole dinosaur uptick is, you have Makele Mbembe out of the Congo. It's a
Hmm.
long necked dinosaur that has been had thousands of sightings and reports on over the years. But with these creatures, prehistoric creatures, you got to go back into early in this interview when we were talking about portals,
Hmm.
time slips, and wormholes and stuff like this. So I think my theory is that these creatures are finding their way into a either a portal or a thin spot in the fabrics of time and space, and we are seeing glimpses of them, almost like looking into a different dimension. But we're looking into the past and seeing these creatures with dimensional time slips and stuff like that. That's like the Mothman. They say that the Mothman was the harbinger of doom, the soothsayer of the terrible. He was there right before they had sightings before the Silver Bridge collapse, and it comes out way after everything happens, and they say, "Oh, there was a Mothman sighting on 47th and 38th in New York City on September the 9th,
9/11.
2001." Yeah, and that's 2 days before the 11th, and the Mothman was there. He knew what was going on. Well, I don't know. I don't know
I've
about
seen a
that.
I've seen a picture. Actually, we showed a picture of that on one of my shows. My buddy Barry was on here with me, and he showed a picture. It was actually the morning. I thought he said the morning of 9/11, but maybe it was before that. But it looked like it either looked like a pterodactyl or a mothman. I don't know. It was something huge, and it was flying by the twin towers.
I done a, I don't know. I went to an eyewitnesses property in Western Kentucky, out around Caldwell County, Kentucky, on the Illinois border. This farmer said that these birds were swooping down and picking up baby cows, which weighed 2 or 300 pounds, and they
No.
would take them up and they would drop them. When they dropped them, it would break their legs and they would come down and eat them.
Oh
And
no.
he described them as looking like big vultures. So a friend of mine and I went down there and we interviewed him and everything. And I was like, man, there's so much that we have to do to actually really investigate this. We got to be here for several days, if not weeks or months. We don't have the time in the day. We're getting in the car after taking a report, and this shadow goes over the ground, and I look up, and it's these vultures, and man, they were huge. Uh, and they were giant, like 6 7 foot wingspans, and they were circling the cows that were still alive. So I don't know, like we've seen some stuff that point to that, but like up in Rockcastle County, Kentucky, that's a big area of people saying that they've seen pterodactyls. And you set these people down, you set an 84-year-old grandmother of 20 down and say, okay, ma'am, I'll listen.
20. Golly.
what did you
My
see?
grandkids.
And she'll say, I was one of them damn dinosaurs that I've been seeing all my life, but it's down the holler down there is where they live at. And well, what do they look like? Well, they got a long beak and they got a long thing coming off the back of their head, and their wings look like leather. It's one of them damn dinosaurs. And you're like, you are an 84-year-old grandma. Why would, and you don't want your name, you don't want this publicized, you don't want to be famous. Why would you lie?
No reason to
There's
lie.
no reason to lie about it.
Exactly.
And it's just like countless Bigfoot encounters I've personally took interviews with, and they say, I'm like, okay, I'll put you on the website, or I'll send you over to the BFRO. No, it's all right. Well, why not? You want your name out there, I'll put you in a book. That's all right, man. I don't need to be famous. I just want to tell you what was going on.
Right.
No reasons to lie. There's, you have more reasons to lie about not seeing one than you ever have about seeing one. And the reason why I say that is because if you know as well as I do, I've been in this for coming real close to 30 years. And the fact of the matter is I've been made fun of. I've been called a liar. I don't know how many times. After a while though, Jessica, you start going, okay, yeah, that's, I mean, you got me, buddy.
Yeah. You
To
quit caring what
save
people think after a while. You have to
to
because
save your to save your sanity and the stress, you just quit arguing with people. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
Well,
no
you
point.
you
Well, people
but
are so stuck in their like little square box matrix realities, and they don't want to. They want to keep their head in the sand about stuff. And just people are just they're not ready to break out of that reality that they live in. You know.
no, they're not. Then they
Yeah.
think they know it all about everything, and that's the guys. I've had people come up to me and say, "Man, I've been hunting for 40 years, and I've been in the woods deer hunting every year, and I ain't never seen one of these things." Okay, that's cool. So you go hunting every year, like I do, probably in the same place every year. Um, yeah, yeah, I go hunting. I got some land down there, and I go hunting. I got my tree stand built, so you hunting out at the tree stand every year for 40 years. So just because there is not a Bigfoot in that area, that means there's not a Bigfoot. And I said, the last one I had this encounter with, it was at a library, and I said, "Come out here, let me show you something." And we walked outside in the parking lot, and I said, "Okay, look out here. There's not a mountain lion out here." "What do you mean? There's not a cougar. There's not an American mountain lion here." "Well, no." "Okay. So therefore there's no mountain lions." "Well, no, now that's that no, you've seen a mountain lion. I have never seen a mountain lion.
Got to use the same logic on them. Flip it. Uno reverse.
I've never seen a mountain lion. Well, you've seen them on TV. I can't tell you that's real
They don't.
though."
That they don't exist. I've never seen one.
Um,
I have
the
a
same
question. Wait.
logic, you can go to the ocean and
Uh-huh.
take a bottle and suck up some water and say, "Okay, there is no whales in that bottle of water. So
Well,
therefore, there's no such thing as a whale."
I know the logic. It doesn't. It's not logical. The logic is not logical. What are the chances? What are the odds of these pterosaurs, these dinosaurs that these people are seeing, like the grandma with the 20 grandkids? What if that's a thunderbird? What do you think the connection to thunderbirds and pterosaurs and pterodactyls are? Do you think there's a connection?
Well, people that don't know what they're looking at, I would assume there is. I mean, you gotta look at the background of people. This lady had been witnessing these creatures for X amount of years, the better of her 84 years. The way she was very nonchalant about it, well, it's just one of them damn dinosaurs down there. They live in that holler up there.
Hmm.
But if somebody doesn't know what they're looking at, then yeah, I'd say that's probably That's logical to think that they could be comparing or contrasting. And for the most part, these people are seeing these things at a distance. So,
Hmm.
case in point, you see a bear at a distance. You squint your eyes, you look through a binocular, and still having a hard time with it. Could be a Bigfoot, probably a bear, but it still probably could be a Bigfoot. There was an episode of Expedition Bigfoot where Russell Accord saw a bear digging around on the side of a hill, and until it stood up on two legs and walked up that hill. Now, logically speaking, a bear can walk on two legs. A bear cannot walk up a hill, and this is because they lack a tendon
On two
in
legs. Right.
on two legs. They can't
Okay.
walk on two legs up a hill, but it's because they lack a tendon that we have and primates have that allow our feet to flex better
Oh,
on grades. Bears cannot do that. They have to drop down on all fours and lumber up a hill. Um, so what, in my opinion, what Expedition Bigfoot filmed was in fact a an actual factual Bigfoot, in my opinion. So, from a
yeah.
distance, eagle could look like a terror bird. I've seen some pretty big eagles,
Yeah. Eagles get
and
gigantic.
and you got to look at the circumstances. Most of these sightings have not been in broad daylight. They have been either early mornings or at the twilight hour. And lighting and everything, it has to do with the perception of what you're looking at. So, yes, people seeing big flying things up in the sky, it could be a terror bird, it could be a thunderbird, it could be a pterodactyl, it could be anything.
It could be. Well, here, okay, I have a question for you. Earlier in
Lay
the
it on me.
night, somebody had put a comment up, and I thought it was a great comment. And I didn't put a star on it, so I apologize. Whoever left this comment, it was in regard to children who are lost in the woods, who get lost, and they are later found, and they tell their parents, the rescuers, that they survived by being taken care of by a bear.
Okay, so that
What do
comes
you think
out of
about
South
that?
Carolina.
North
That
Carolina
comes out.
too.
So a
Yeah.
few years ago, what was it? A 3 or 4 year old boy went
Hmm.
missing out of his yard, and it dropped down. It was the coldest 2 nights of the year.
Yes.
It dropped down to the single digits there, and I'll hope. And if you're a betting person, as terrible as it is, you would bet this child is gone. It's not going to be
Probably.
found. And if it is found, it's not going to be good.
Right.
The child is later recovered 2 days later, and his story was, "It was okay, Mama. The bear took care of me."
Right.
And rescuers and police and everybody else said, "Okay, what are you talking about? It's this big hairy bear curled around me, took me where it was warm, and it kept me warm for the last 2 nights." I think that it's very possible. I do. I think that these creatures, this goes back to the perception thing. They could alter our perception, and make that child think that it is a bear, and have be perceived as a bear, and it's something that a child is not going to be scared of. And there's not a doubt in my mind, and this child had an encounter with a Bigfoot, and that Bigfoot kept him safe.
Oh
There
yeah.
have been instances. I talked to several people, but one story always gets me. This man, he was coon hunting one night, and he was running his dogs, and he was running towards his dogs, and all of a sudden a tree came from nowhere and fell in front of him, stopped him dead in his tracks. Thought no wind, no nothing. And when he took his flashlight and looked, just past that tree was a sheer drop off.
Oh.
And, he
Oh.
told me, he said it was either one or two things. It was either God and my sending a guardian angel to push that tree over to save my life, or
Hmm.
it was one of these big hairy things you talk about.
Wow.
And he told me straight up, he said, I don't know if I believe in Bigfoot because I never seen anything that night. But a tree fell across in front of me in the middle of nowhere and stopped me from running off a rock ledge. I think that these creatures, I think they see the good in people, and I truly believe they see the bad in people. And these Bigfoot researchers that go out with guns and toting, and they have that mantra, I'm going to go out and kill one so everybody knows they're real. I Those are the ones that never see anything. They're the ones that never get anything remotely close to evidence.
Hmm.
The ones that go out with good intentions, they're the ones who get those experiences. They get those encounters. For the most part, folks, it's not a visual encounter. I'll tell you what, and Jessica, if anybody on this earth knows it, it's you and another person that is my favorite person on this earth, Arla Colette Williams. If anybody knows this, when they're around, you feel you feel them. You feel at peace. You feel that sense of peace around you. Now that night on October 6, 2018, I didn't feel a lot of peace that night, but I had my mind. I am such a different person than I was pre-COVID.
Hmm.
During COVID, we saw so much death and it broke every part of me. It was awful. It's the worst 2 years of my existence, I know.
And you work in the
And
medical field, so the audience is not familiar with that. So you work in the medical field.
we keep everything kind of separate on that. But
Yes,
yes, I do.
exactly.
I do.
I'm just saying that's why you
I
saw so much
won't
death.
say what
Okay.
I've seen
No,
so
we're
much
not.
death.
We will not disclose it
And
exactly, but that's the
we
gist.
saw we saw we you don't sign up in that field to see
Hmm.
people die. You don't do it. And it broke people that knew me pre-COVID. They knew me and they said, "Man, you have changed so much before COVID, after COVID, because man, I've seen death. I've seen death walk down the halls and handpick people. I've seen it."
Hmm.
And I think it humbled me in my spirit that these creatures now feel with me. I used to go out with intentions of finding proof. Now I go out to have an experience and to find my peace that I can only find in the middle of nowhere, away from people. And, call it God, call it divine intervention, call it whatever you want to call it. My life has led up to this moment in time where I finally know what it feels like to have peace and understanding. And the only goal that I have with Bigfoot nowadays is understanding. I gotta know, and I hope one day before I die, I hope one day I get that knowing, like this is undoubtedly what we are, and this is why we chose you. I'm a firm believer, Jessica, that no Bigfoot encounter now, this is how I believe now, no Bigfoot encounter is by happenstance.
I
I
believe that.
think they choose us. I think they
Yeah.
choose us. They choose the people. And God, I hope that I am a, I I keep being the person I am to keep encountering and having these encounters and experiences with these creatures. That's a beautiful thing.
It is.
And I love it. And I love my friends. I would have, if I would have not went fishing on that riverbank that day, I would have never met half the people that I call my friends.
I
And
know. Right.
I I don't know, and somebody you're close with, somebody you're very close with, Harry Wendell
Terry. I love Terry.
is one of
Terry's
my
been on the show.
truest. I think Terry told you about our encounter down in South Carolina.
What, were you with him? Were you with him
Yeah,
that
when
night that he had the Bigfoot poke him in his tent?
no, but I got a funny story about that. So the first time that I met Terry was in Douglasville, Georgia,
Oh my
and
gosh.
then we went two
Erin's from
years.
Erin's in the chat. She's brought up Douglasville in the chat the other day. That's in West Georgia. I live in West Georgia, by the way. I'm not gonna say where.
Okay,
But
okay, you're
yeah.
close to me.
Terry's with Rock Hill Bigfoot out of South Carolina. He used to be with Carolina Cryptid Field Research with David Pardue. We're all friends. Okay.
So
Man,
Terry and I met in Douglasville at the Primal Peoples Conference in Douglasville, and
Primal
then
People's Conference. Why didn't I hear about that?
that was Tom Contrail that
Uh-huh.
held that for several years.
Oh my gosh.
And those who real break, I digress for just a second. Tom, I've learned in the past couple of days, Tom is in the process of transitioning into the next life.
Mhm.
And I would just ask for you all to keep Tom's family in your thoughts and your hearts and your prayers, whatever, and let this be a peaceful transition. Tom is such a good human being. He has made leaps and bounds in the Bigfoot world, and he's going to be terribly missed in this world. But he has a very, very good world he's going into to enjoy, and he will finally know what's going on. But so anyway, Tom
I was about to
uh,
say he's gonna know all the answers. He's gonna be way ahead of
is going to
us.
know all the answers, and
That's
that's
right.
that's a beautiful thing. And um, so Terry and I, after the Douglasville thing, we met up again in 2022 at the South Carolina festival, and Terry is in the middle. They asked us what got us. We were doing a meet and greet, and the audience asked us what we got us into Bigfoot research. Well, Terry tells the now famous story of him getting poked through the tent by a
Yeah.
Bigfoot, and it was so funny because he stops at that story, and it comes to me, and I said, "Well, what got me into Bigfoot is one night I was hiking down in the Uari, and I come across this tent." And I thought somebody was in it, so I started poking around on it, and some guy in there started crying, and I got the hell out of there. And and the whole audience just burst into laughter. And Terry and I didn't even really know each other at the time, and we had such a good time. But
Oh my
that
gosh.
that that weekend, we were at our cabin, and we have to be sworn to secrecy. We cannot tell anybody where this cabin is. The conference gets it for us, so we get out in the woods, or we're at the campfire that night. We start hearing some things going on around us, and Terry and I, Terry gets up and he goes, "I'm walking out in the woods," and I said, "You're crazy. You're clearly crazy, and I guess I am too. So I'm coming with you." And I walk out with him, and we get out through there, and we get zapped. Both of us get zapped. We can feel these,
Mm-hmm.
like it's like static electricity. Yeah, it was in our chest and it was radiating out. Terry tells the story a whole lot better than I do. So, that night we heard a very high pitched scream, kind of female like, and we also heard a return low guttural deep scream come from another direction, and it was mom and dad calling the kids home, pretty much.
Oh man.
But
That's cool.
we have such a good time. I highly recommend the South Carolina Bigfoot Festival. It's held the second weekend in October every year in Westminster, South Carolina.
Oh yeah, I met some of the people that throw that conference at the Georgia Bigfoot conference this past year. Nice, good folks out there. I'm gonna have to come to that one soon.
Yeah, you
And
need
Terry,
to.
I actually changed my protocol for my tent situation after Terry told me about that, because I had already gotten kind of creeped out a little bit in my tent because I have several different tent setups that I take out to the field. Sometimes put the tent truck. I take the truck and like I have the tent in the truck, back of the truck. Sometimes I have a big tent. Sometimes I have a little tent. Sometimes I sleep in a hammock with a tarp over it. It just depends, right? Sometimes I just sleep in my truck and lock the doors. Okay, I put a pallet in the back. So it just depends on who I'm with, where I'm going, and who's with me, and all that kind of stuff. But I quit taking when I would take my big tent sometimes, like if we were doing car camping is what we call it, I would take my big tent and put my cot in the middle of this big tent so the Bigfoots couldn't poke at me. They'd have to poke really hard to get at me in that thing. And I did that on purpose after Terry told me about getting poked in his tent. And a lot of the guys that I go out in the field with, they sleep in those tent cots, which is basically just a casket. It's like a tent casket is what I call it.
Well, David Wickham from up in Ohio. I
Mm-hmm.
was with them one night in Salt Fork State Park in Ohio, and David was in his tent, and I was sleeping. I think I was in my car. But there was commotion going on, and this thing took the top of his tent and pushed it down and collapsed the tent on top of David.
Oof.
And somebody at camp saw it running away. They're mischievous. I don't think they're dangerous. I think they're very mischievous. The ones that surrounded us the night of October 6th on These Woods Are Haunted, I believe they were adolescents. I believe they were just a bunch of teenage Bigfoot showing their asses and trying to get a rise out of us. The I think the one on the riverbank that I witnessed was a young one. I think he didn't know any better, and he didn't know how to use these abilities I was talking about that they're endowed with. Um, that night that Terry and I had that encounter, that was something that knew what it was doing because it zapped both of us. It gave us enough to where we were like, okay, we probably need to stop right here. But I'll tell you this one, and this past year we were there at that same location, and Terry and the conference organizer and myself were walking out this trail middle of the night, and I was in front. I was puffing on a cigar, and all of a sudden I got this in my head. Something told me, "Get the hell out of here right now. We don't want you here. Leave." That loud in my head, and I turned around, and Terry will tell you, he said, I was talking to me, and all of a sudden he looked, and there I went. And I went back to the cabin. I said, "Nope, I'm good. Nope, nope, nope." And I kept on walking, and Dale was hollering at me. He goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm not. You all need to come. You all need to come with me." And Terry said right after that, they had this overwhelming feeling that they were not welcome there. So I don't know what's going on in that area. I really don't. We left a marble in a tree stump there, and it was gone the next year. We hid it where no humans could find it. It
Hmm.
was gone the next year. And we'll be back this year. I hope. The Lord willing, the creek don't rise. I've got a bunch of stuff coming up. Hey, you should try to come to one I'm part of out here where I live at. Coming up, it's on March the 28th.
March 28th.
Yeah.
What tell us about it? What you got going on? Because we have definitely hit the 2 hour mark tonight. And
Well, we have
I was kind of
March.
shooting for 2 hours. We can go over. I just didn't want to make it a
Yeah.
3 hour
Do
one
you
tonight.
still have that schedule I sent you toward the end of our conversation?
I do. It's in the description box actually. I forgot to pull it up. But I do. Let me see. Hold on. I have it in the. I did put it in the description box when you have your. Oh wait, here we go. Oh, I've got it right here. Actually, yes. The. Mhm.
Okay, so
March
March
28th,
the
the Bigfoot at the library. March
Bigfoot
28th.
at the library. We'll
Yep.
be there with Arla Colette Williams and David Ogles.
Let's see if I can
Um,
find it.
we are going to be at the Carl Elliott Regional Library, Jasper City Library in Jasper, Alabama. And then
Okay.
April the 11th, I will be the library thing starts at 9:30 and it goes until 12:30. It's 3 hours of meet and greet, and we're going to be talking Bigfoot and stuff. I'll have books available at the time, and you can purchase those. Arlo will too, and I'm sure Greg will have something as well. Um, then April the 11th, 10th, and 11th, I will be in Lafayette, Louisiana.
I have the April 5th through 6th, is what it says on my
I
notes.
screwed up. I screwed up.
You changed?
It's the
Okay.
April the 10th and 11th.
Okay.
So April 10th and 11th, I'll be at the Cajun Country Paracon in Lafayette, Louisiana. David Ogles will be there with me also. We're doing a joint meet and greet and talk presentation there. Then June the 5th and 6th, more on the 6th. June the 6th, I will be out in North Little Rock, Arkansas at the first ever Arkansas Cryptid Fest, hosted by the guys from Drunken Cryptids. And that will be at
Nice.
Old Bart's in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Then I
Okay.
am free in July. Then August the 11th, I'm sorry, August the 29th, I'll be at the Western North Carolina Bigfoot Festival
Hold
in
on.
Marion, North Carolina. And then I finish out the year. Oh, in September, I'm not doing
I'm
anything but going to Bluff Creek, California. And me and two buddies of mine are flying out, and we're going to go out to Bluff
no
Creek and
way.
hang out for a couple of days. And I'm going to show them around out there. We're going to have a good time in September. And then October, I will be doing my normal thing, hopefully finishing out the year at the South Carolina Bigfoot Festival. And then we around that time should be releasing Bigfoot and Friends. Yes, there are the dates. Look at that handsome guy there with his shirt pooched open
That's
and
so cool.
everything.
I love that.
Did
Yeah,
you should
I just
tell
found that on your
the
Facebook.
audience, you should tell the audience that what I won last weekend. You remember what I won last
What did
weekend?
you
The contest?
win?
I won the
I don't
tattoo
remember what you
contest.
win. You won the tattoo contest?
Hmm.
You have he has a fantastic tattoo on his leg of every cryptid you could ever imagine. All around his entire leg. It is so cool. Why don't you throw your leg up in the air? Let's see it. Throw the leg up. Oh,
Oh
I'm
my
kidding. You don't have to
goodness.
do it. I was just
No,
kidding.
here we go.
Hold on,
Here
let
we
me
go.
take this down. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna take this down. Remember this is a PG show for the most part. Be careful. Here, I'm gonna make your oh shoot. Hold on. I'm making your picture bigger. Okay, ready, everybody? Check out this tattoo, y'all. Look at that. That is an award-winning tattoo right there with cows getting taken in UFOs, Mothman, the Flatwoods Monster. We got Bigfoot. We got El Chupacabra, and we got Wendigos in there, I think, and it's awesome. Man, that's a good one. That is definitely worth an award right there. I can appreciate
It
that,
was worth
Michael.
it.
Thank you
Yeah.
for showing us that. How long did that take you to get that tattooed?
28 hours in
Dang,
sessions.
damn it! I tell you what,
Yeah.
man, I need. I do not have one single cryptid tattoo. I think it's time for me to get one.
I think we should get matching tattoos.
I think we should. We should. What do you
Look,
think? What are you thinking?
my
Bigfoot or
leg.
Dogman? What does that say?
What about what oh, those hurt worse than
Are
my
those
leg ever
runes?
thought. Yeah, they're Norse runes.
I was going to say you have a Norse background,
I
ancestral,
do.
don't you? Yeah.
My family came from Norway a
Hmm.
long time ago, and they were Vikings.
I come from Vikings
So
as well.
look at us
I'm a Viking. I'm a
pillaging
Viking warrior.
villages.
I was
Pillaging
probably
villages one village
right,
at a time.
right. I mean, I'm not opposed to drinking from my enemy's skull. I'm not. It's in my blood. Just saying. That's I told you. Look, the audience knows we're both a little crazy for doing what we do. Okay, we're already a little crazy, but man, this has been a lot of fun, Michael. Thank you for
I've had
being
a
here tonight.
blast. You're
You had
welcome.
fun. I told you you'd have fun, didn't I?
Yeah,
Yeah. Everybody always has fun when they come on my show. I hope everybody has fun. At least they pretend like they do.
I've had a
I'm
blast.
just kidding.
I like the way you said there was no structure, but I like that.
Yeah.
I do. I like how this no structure kind of deal. It's fun, and I don't feel pressured like I do on other podcasts. Um, but you can catch me at any of these festivals, and also the Mike Cook booking at gmail.com. You can email that, and somebody will email you back and say, hey, what do you want? And if you want me at one of your events, all you got to do, I'm very, very, there at the bottom is Mike Cook booking. And I've got the stuff for it, but it's actually through somebody else. But they'll get back with you. And, if you want me on your show, this goes for podcasts, on events and stuff. Just email that right there, or find me on Facebook. I'm pretty easy to find on Facebook.
I've got a link to your Facebook in the description box too. And I'm
Now,
sure the moderators have been putting links in the throughout the show tonight too. And
I
yeah,
don't. I do. I have. There is an X profile page.
Twitter. Twitter
Yeah,
X.
Twitter. If you should follow and message me on Twitter, I can't. I don't have any access to it. Somebody else does. They will message you back. I've had people say, I've messaged you on Twitter and you ain't going to message me back because you're stuck up. No, I don't have it. I don't even have it downloaded on my phone.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see. I'm a
I
private
was just
tattoo artist of 30 years by appointment only. Viking heritage. Jessica, Michael, and chat.
How yeah.
Uh,
My tats are side biz, semi-retired. Nice.
oh hell,
Max Love
look
Life.
us
Yeah, where
look
you
us
live
up. We'll
at?
we'll
Where you
we'll get a
stay at?
tattoo from you.
Yeah, where you stay at? Well, maybe we'll travel out sometime, do some cryptid research and get some tattoos one day. That's fun.
Maybe.
I don't know. Max Love Life, they probably live in another country. I don't know.
You never know.
They may be in
But
Australia. Listen,
no, if
I need to go travel the world looking for cryptids one day. Okay.
let's do
So
it.
yeah, you wanna go with me? You coming with
I'll
me?
go with you.
Okay, sounds good. It'd be fun. We'll drink some wine while we're out there. We'll go wine tasting.
I like
Drink
wine and I
food.
like bourbon. So
Oh my gosh. All right. That
but
is too
no,
funny.
like I said, you can find me on the Facebook, on the TikTok. I have a pretty good TikTok. And then that's just Michael W. Cook on TikTok, and then Instagram. But if you want to get a hold of me and holler at me or whatever, Jennifer Mullins. Hey, Jennifer. I think I know Jennifer. I believe I know Jennifer. I believe Jennifer is from Kentucky.
I'll
And
be
yes, so thank you for having me
Harlan
on
County.
tonight, Jessica.
Harlan County proud, she says.
Hey, there we go. I knew Jennifer. Jennifer is
Yeah,
one of my buddies. Yeah, I love you,
that's
Jennifer. I miss
wonderful.
you so much. I miss Kentucky. Keep Kentucky safe for me. I know it's been cold up there.
Oh man. Well, okay, let at the end of every show, especially on Saturday nights, I usually ask my guests to leave the audience with some words of wisdom or some advice. Especially, I know we're living in crazy times when cryptids are all around. I tell everybody at the end of every show, I say, "Don't live in fear, live in awareness." Okay, and what would you like to leave the audience with tonight? Any final words?
No matter what you believe a Bigfoot or a cryptid is, there's somebody that's going to say you're wrong. Never bow down to those people, but always keep the possibility that there's more to your belief than what there is. The One of my favorite quotes is one of my good friends, Ed Brown, and he once said, and it's in this next book: question everything but dismiss nothing. And I always treat people the way you want to be treated, and love with every bit of you when you love, and give people a chance. That is my words of wisdom for the audience.
I love that. You must have had to sit down with Ed Brown, didn't you?
I was in the early days of sit down with Ed Brown. We're talking
Yeah.
almost 20 years ago.
I love Ed's cool, man. I've had Ed on the
He's
show
cool.
before. He's really cool. Those are wonderful words of wisdom. And before we go, also, I wanted to advertise your book as well, all your books.
Yes.
And I'll pull up Amazon. If you guys want to go purchase Michael's books, okay, you can go find them on Amazon, okay, right? And there's other places too. I was seeing there's a lot of places where you can buy your books.
You can go
Um,
on Google and type in Michael W. Cook, the Bigfoot Volume One, and there are pages of
yeah,
places that sell this book. Barnes and Noble sells it. Amazon sells it. The second book is at the publisher. It is getting the final tadas done on it, and when that it normally takes about a month. So we're looking at probably in print by this time next month, and they'll be on these websites as well. And then American Cryptid should be. I've been working on it for a while. I should have something in print by the end of summer for American
wonderful.
Cryptid, and Jessica will be the forwarder to that.
I will. I can't wait. I'll get to work on that this week. Okay. And that sounds awesome. It's an honor. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show tonight, Michael. Will you please come back and hang out with me again?
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff we can talk about in the future. I'm sure we didn't hit on everything, right?
Oh, one thing. I have a writing prompt that popped up earlier, and I had a dream about this. I'm going to write a fictional book at some point in the future, but it's going to be about aliens and a story from the mountains. So be on the lookout for that sometime in the next couple of years. But yeah, come see me in
Ooh.
Alabama on March 28th and hang out with me.
Okay. All right. I'll plan on it. I'll plan on it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to be actually March 21st. We're going to be at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference up in North Georgia. So that's the weekend before. So I plan to come to Alabama that next weekend. I'll just have to fix my schedule up. Okay. But
Okay.
yes, just like Max Love, Life and Learning says, never, never, never give up. That's from Winston Churchill. And I appreciate that, y'all. Okay. Well, Michael, thank you so much. Y'all go check out Michael's books and follow him on social media and all that. And please come back and see me, y'all. I'll be back on Monday with another wild and crazy show for you guys. Everybody, please stay safe out there. Thank you for sticking around with us all night. And yeah, like I said, never live in fear, live in awareness, and do something that scares the hell out of you every now and then. To just remember that you're alive. And this is a beautiful world. Recognize the beauty around you at all times. And Michael, have a great night. I'll see you guys back here on Monday. Oh yeah, one more mullet squash before we go tonight. Oops, he left. Well, Michael left us already, but one more view of the mullet squash, y'all. And I was going to leave you on that note tonight. Y'all have a wonderful night. You're welcome. Bye, y'all.